In a world where mental health matters, through Food for Thought, we aim to create awareness and empower individuals to take charge of their mental well-being. Join us as we delve into the complexities of mental health and navigate the path towards healing and resilience. Food for Thought with Professor David Ndetey.
Welcome to another episode of Food for Thought with Professor Ndetey. This is the fifth of a six-part series looking at stress and stress management. Today, we want to talk about prevention. What are some things we can do to prevent this stress from becoming something negative and something corrosive in our lives? Now, we went out into the streets of Nairobi and we asked different people what they do to deal with stress. How do they prevent stress? What activities do they engage in? Listen to what they had to say.
Most of the time when I have stress, I always play music. At least it takes away my stress. And I feel good. So music and more so food. I like eating and music. Then I'll be back on normal duties.
When I'm feeling stressed, the most things that I do to rewind it is by playing football and maybe listening to music or dancing.
I basically do what I love at that moment. That's when I'll feel that I'll not be stressed. Yeah, so I do basically what I love to do at that moment. Then I do away with something that stresses me.
Be less on phones, talk more. I think the older generation, they used to talk, they used to communicate. According to us, we don't talk, you're just on your phone.
One I can say is maybe exercise. You see, doing exercise keeps your mind away from most of the things. When you exercise, it gives you a new energy. Another one I can also say, therapy sessions are also substantial to people suffering with this problem. It's good to share your thoughts and how you feel and have someone who can listen to you and give you good mentorship on how to go forward.
Different thoughts, different ideas, different things working for different people. Well, we are here again with Professor Ndetey. Professor, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Today I want us to look at prevention. And I want to take you back to the graph that you talked to us about. You know, you climb, you get to a plateau, and then you start dipping.
Absolutely.
So today I want us to linger on the plateau.
Yeah.
When the stress levels are there, they're high, and it's like you're not getting you're not getting results for the output you're putting in.
For the input.
For the input you're putting in, yes. So you're on that level. What are some things we can do to release that tension, to release that pressure?
I think the most important thing is what we are, even before we go to specifics. The most important thing is that there is awareness. There is knowledge.
Yeah.
Because they say knowledge is power.
Yes.
If you know what is happening, if you are able to recollect all the things that we said about outputs, inputs and outputs, you would have to decide what is burnout.
Yes.
You'd have to know when you are getting to burnout.
Getting to burnout, yes.
So the most important thing is you know that there is this thing called stress. It can go like this, it can go like that, it can go like this.
Yes.
Don't wait for people to notice for you. Because some people may just see it and they just watch you, they do nothing. But since you have no control as to when you get into that, then you need to know what happens when you when during this time, when you plateau and when you go down. We have talked about symptoms of sleep, physical symptoms, eating disorders. We have talked irritability and things like that, being people within the family being able to see some of these things. So awareness, personal awareness
very important.
is key.
Yeah.
And it's not just you, me, knowing about those things, because sometimes when they appear, I may not even be aware that they are appearing.
Sure.
The family members who are listening, are these things happening in one of your people? Are these things happening in work situation?
Yes.
In other words, we are trying to work to talk to people who understand who understand you. And these are the people who give you the information if you involve them and you give them the opportunity in a structured, protective, respecting environment.
Yes.
You get, if listening to those people will be very helpful in telling the person, I think things are a little bit not too good. What do you think about this and that and that and that? And all the time must be done in a very respectful manner.
Yeah.
So involving everybody in a constructive and respectful manner, listen to one another, trying to put yourself in the shoes of that person,
Yeah.
I think it really helps.
Okay.
And I think these are basically the best ways to prevent it from going to going the whole trajectory of that camp. There's also the family therapy, where you also related cognitive behavioral therapy, where you educate the people to know what is happening. It is so vital, for the family to understand why that person is behaving the way they are behaving.
Yes.
For them to understand very many things, so that all of us are reading from the same page.
Okay.
A shoulder for somebody to cry on. And maybe that's all they need. Maybe that's all they need. So all of us, everybody, every Kenyan, please be the keeper of your brother.
Yeah. Very true.
The keeper of your sister.
Very true.
Yes.
I've had several times two things when somebody is at a place where stress is beginning to build up. I've had people say, take a time out, take some time off, relax, don't be so concerned about this. Take some time off, cool off, and then we can pick it up again. I've had other people say, get a hobby. You're so focused, especially if it's work related. You're so stressed because of this. You're not thinking about anything else. Ride a bicycle, go and play football with the boys, or do something physical to release that stress. Does that work?
I think that can only occur not as a camouflage management. It cannot replace getting the person to understand what is going on. It cannot replace getting the people around them to understand what is going on.
Yeah.
And more often than not, that is all they need. Let me just give you a little example, which I may have given some time back, but let me repeat it in this context. Just to tell you that involving the families and everybody as a way of management and just talking is very important.
Yeah.
When I was a junior psychiatrist, I was given a ward that used to be Ward 7 at Mathare Hospital. When I took that ward, it had about 300 patients for a capacity of about 50, 60.
Wow.
Yeah. So the people were sleeping, sharing beds, some sleeping on the floor. And that was at a time when we did not, there was a very acute shortage of medicine at Mathare Hospital.
Yes.
So I was at a loss. What do I do with this? I
have
no
people?
medicine. Why did I pass my time by talking to these people? So we started talking to the patients, bringing them together. Group therapy,
Yes.
the one I talked about. Now, what is your problem? Oh, we have lots of problems. When we leave this place, we go home, we are called mad people, we are called all kinds of names, negative. They shout at us and things like that. So we prefer to be here
than there.
Than there. Oh, is that what they do? Why do they do that? We don't know why they do it. Yeah. And something interesting that came up was that, sometimes we really don't. Do you know what we are suffering from? I would ask them. Do you know your diagnosis? You say, no, we don't know. We don't know. We are only told that there are three main types of madness. Those who talk a lot, those who keep quiet, and those who that don't want to eat or they eat a lot. I know they know that. They knew that. They used to categorize them. So we started bringing in the patients, the relatives. What happens? And we discovered they shout at them. We discovered they do all kinds of things. And when we brought them together, and they start talking and understanding each other, Do you know what happened? Before we will discharge the patient, they come back. Now, when we discharge the patient, they did not come back.
They did not come back.
They only came during the scheduled appointment.
Wow.
Yeah, it works. And we didn't send them on a cruise ship. We didn't send them to go and play football and the things like that. So why don't you try those, see how they work, and eventually, if your resources allow, you can do that. Please don't prescribe impossible treatments.
Yeah. What would you tell somebody who's working in high stress environment, and they've been managing, but it seems now it's getting to the place where it's becoming a bit too much, and they're caught in between, because this is where I earn my livelihood. I have a family that's dependent on me, but the more I stay in this environment, the more I feel like I'm going downhill.
Yeah.
What do you tell a person like that?
Well, the question you would ask them is, are you the only one who is going through that? How come the other people seem to be enjoying it and coping? What's the matter with you?
Yeah.
Of course, you ask in a polite manner, and then you discover very soon that there are issues, peculiar issues at home, peculiar issues about him. Why do you talk about those things? It's just like the example I was giving you, somebody saying, I can't continue working, I want you to help me to retire without involving other people. So don't just say, okay, fine, go. Just fine, go. I have heard of some people who get very allergic when they were told that they wanted to pray, and they trusted in God, and then they were told by that person, don't talk to me about that God of yours. If that God is that kind, why has he allowed this
to happen to me?
Never do that. Never do that. So I think many people can be managed to continue where they are, be productive, and if there are certain issues that are peculiar to them, address those issues. Because if you ask them to go, where else will they go? Maybe they'll go to another place, which will be worse. It's like jumping from the frying pan into the fire. Yeah, what will be the implication to the family? Yeah, and the implication in the family when they leave the job may be more dangerous than what they are already going through in that work situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So should the employer also be at a place where they can help their people understand?
There are very many people who are doing that. Very many companies are doing that. They are organizing seminars for their workers. Yeah. And I think that's what should happen. Mental health in workplaces is very, very important. And organization need to understand that. Yeah.
Okay. Professor, I'm out of time.
Okay.
But we have one more episode that we would want us to do next week. For those who have already gone downhill and they have already presented all those things we have talked about, is there hope for them? Can they find treatment, and where do they get the treatment? We'll talk about that next week. My time is up for this week's episode of Food for Thought with Professor Ndetei. If you are on that plateau, take care of yourself. Don't allow yourself to go into the deep. Like Professor said, you are a very important person in this company called Earth. We still need you. Until next week, do have a great day and God bless you.
Food for Thought with Professor David Ndetei.